So I said I was going to finish Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 on the bus ride to New Orleans. That didn't even end up happening. I didn't even finish chapter 3. I had to finish chapter 3 when I got home. But I finished chapter 3, so let's get started. First of all, I won't have many notes for the music because I played the game on mute for the most part, which I feel like that's a crime with Toby Fox games because the music is just so good. But I was on a bus and I had no headphones, and I did not want to bug other people who were trying to sleep or read or relax on a 10-hour bus ride, because that's not a situation that you want to have people mad at you for. So first of all, if I woke up in the Dark World, I would shit my pants. That would be terrifying. And I think it's very respectable of Susie, Chris, and I guess also Undyne this chapter for not doing that when they woke up in the Dark World. This little friend group is so important to me. I think their bond is so precious, and how much they care for each other is so precious. I'm considering doing like character analysis videos. I'm not the best at character analysis, but I think I might give it a shot just to get my interpretations of the characters, because I just think their bond is really cool and really interesting and very adorable. Now, Ralsei's whole conversation about like the Dark World and the Light World at the beginning of the chapter, where he talks about how everyone in the Dark World isn't real and they're just an object in the Light World, I am very curious. What's Ralsei's object in the Light World? I think I talked about this with a friend and he suggested a theory, but I'm curious to know what Ralsei's object is in the Light World. It would have to be something that Chris carries around with him because Ralsei's always there. But like, I don't know, I'm curious. It's not the cell phone, because the cell phone's still there in the Dark World. And follow-up, why isn't the cell phone turn into someone in the Dark World? Why is the cell phone still there? I don't know, I just have a lot of questions. I also feel like the whole conversation about, oh, the Dark World isn't real, can kind of apply to like people's connections with like fictional characters and like escapism media, maybe. I don't know, this is just what that conversation made me think of. But the way Ralsei talks about like, oh, like we can eat candy together, but whenever you return to the Light World, you're not actually full. Like it's not real. So, and it made me kind of think of like how whenever you're lonely, you can get attached to fictional characters and media really easily. Guilty. But it doesn't really replace human connection. Like you still need to like live your life and find real connection out there, but it can kind of act as a substitute for that. I don't know, that's just what that conversation made me think of. For the game show with Tenna, I made my name Di because I thought it was funny, but I really like Tenna. I loved like the font changes and the dialogue, and I just think Tenna's super fun. I love anything that makes life more fun and whimsical. So I really like this chapter. I feel like the mini games were super interesting. I like how there's like a variety of game mechanics and different ways to win the battles, because I was thinking about, I know I've said in previous videos you can't really compare Deltarune to Undertale because it's too different, but I'm going to for just a second, because I feel like in Undertale, the fights, at least for the pacifist route, for the fights, you were just waiting for the characters to finish monologuing and then you could spare them. And I guess it's sort of the same way in Deltarune, but you're also doing other things, like whenever in the Tenna fight, you had to gain points to be able to beat Tenna. More on the Tenna fight in a little bit. I really love how we learn more about Chris and their family throughout the game, and just Chris's dynamic with both Toriel, Azriel, and a little bit of Asgore. Another thing about Azriel is I was not expecting Azriel to be mentioned so frequently throughout the game, especially considering he hasn't shown up yet. And I know I talk about Azriel in every video, but Azriel was my favorite character in Undertale, and I found his ending so sad in Undertale, so the fact that he like, I don't know, gets like another chance, that's kind of a weird way to look at it in Deltarune. I don't know, that made me really happy. But then I was like, oh, but he won't be too significant, he hasn't even shown up yet, but he's been mentioned in every single chapter, and he's been mentioned multiple times in every single chapter, which I thought was really interesting and a little surprising. Y'all, this chapter wasn't the worst I've done in terms of fighting and actually playing the game, but it was definitely a little embarrassing. I think it might have been also because the way I was playing on a bus, sunlight into the window reflecting off of the screen. So every time I died, I was and the screen went black, I was staring at my own reflection. And it just made everything feel a little more shameful. Like when I lost to the water cooler. I lost to a freaking water cooler, and I had to just stare at my reflection after that happened. Also, polyamorous representation, kind of. Okay, Slay. Why the hell not? Guys, Ralsei said the thing. Ralsei said, okay. That's my favorite bit in the entire game is Ralsei saying, okay, during the dialogue. I think the context was Susie was like, we should start an actual rock band. And Susie was like, Susie was not doing it correctly. And was losing the gang points. And Ralsei and Chris had to make up for it with their gameplay. And then Susie was like, we should start an actual rock band. And Ralsei said, okay. That's just the funny bit to me. The band portion was also one of the only mini games I did with any relative ease. I think it might be because I'm a music major. Even though it didn't really, I didn't feel like you had to be musically inclined to play that portion of the game, but maybe that was it. A little bit of lore for you guys. At the same time that Tenna said, now where the heck is my debit card? I lost my wallet, so I was saying the exact same thing. Where the heck is my debit card? I found it, don't worry. It fell off while I was on the bus, but I did find it. I think the ice cream bit where Ralsei asked Chris to buy ice cream for Susie at the festival and then say it's from him, I thought that was so cute. Those three mean the world to me. Another note on Ralsei, people always complain about him dying really quickly. I will never fault Ralsei for dying quickly because you know whose fault it is that he dies quickly? Mine. Because I can't dodge. He dies quickly because I suck at dodging. And that's not Ralsei's fault. I can't get mad at Ralsei for that because it's my fault. So no, I will not be complaining that Ralsei dies quickly because it is in fact my fault that he dies quickly. I actually started feeling really, really bad for Tenna. Maybe it's because I also liked Tenna, but I feel like I just felt more for Tenna than I did the other antagonists. And I think that partially has to do with just Tenna was really well written. And I don't know, I felt like guilty. Like I felt a little sad that I was like convincing, I don't know if friends is the right word for the people there. I guess they're not really his friends since they are contractually obligated to work for him, his employees, I guess. But he was really sad about it, so I felt kind of bad about it. And I don't know, I feel like his backstory is so sad and it's something that a lot of people can relate to. So yeah, I really like how Tenna was written and I felt really sad about it. Side note, apparently there have been special secret bosses that I have not been fighting because I didn't know they existed, so I haven't been trying to fight them. So I will in fact be replaying the entire game. Once I finish like with the main storyline, I will be replaying the entire game because I have to get the full experience. You know, I bought the game, so I want to get the full experience. Which is why I eventually will be doing an Undertale genocide run. I just don't know when because I'm about to get really busy. But yeah, I am going to replay the game because apparently there have been special secret bosses that I've been missing and had no clue about. So something I noticed was that whenever characters from Undertale enter the light world, like characters that were also in Undertale enter the light world, dark world, my fault. Their outfits in the dark world kind of resemble their designs in Undertale, like with the sort of robe that Toriel is wearing and the armor that Undyne was wearing. I don't know, I think that's really cool. I can't tell if there's like supposed to be like a narrative connection between Deltarune and Undertale and if I'm supposed to be like looking for those and like drawing connections, or if they're just fun little Easter eggs for people who also played Undertale. So Apparently those secret boss fights that I missed will reveal some of that, because I don't know, like I've been saying like, oh, you can't compare Deltarune and Undertale because they're two separate games, but like, I don't know, apparently there are connections and I have just missed them. So might be scrapping this entire video series, redoing it, refilming all of my thoughts on it once I play those secret boss fights. I don't know, maybe I'll change my opinion entirely, but I can't tell if there's supposed to be connections I'm supposed to be drawing or if it's just fun little Easter eggs for people who played both games. And that's it for today. Overall thoughts on the chapter, I thought it was really good. I really enjoy how the chapters can kind of be their own standalone stories, but there's also elements that inform us of the larger overarching plot. I think that's really cool, and I have really been enjoying the game, so I'm excited to play chapter 4. I need to go unpack. I didn't even unpack. I immediately started deltaruning before I unpacked from my like 4-day trip. So I do need to unpack. But you want to know what I'm probably going to go do instead? Play chapter 4. So farewell.